It's staggering how much betrayal you can overlook when you simply don't want to see it. I spent 12 years building a marriage. Patricia and my brother were planning everything through emails they thought were secret. The condo, the inheritance, the divorce. They didn't know one thing: engineers don't build without a foundation, and I already had all the proof I needed. My name is Mark Vance, 43 years old, a civil engineer in Chicago, Illinois, specializing in infrastructure project coordination for 19 years. My career led me to manage complex projects across 6 states, from CTA line expansions to repairing overpasses on the Dan Ryan. I built my reputation by being meticulous, meeting deadlines and keeping budgets under control. I was the kind of professional companies sought out to solve problems other engineers couldn't. I met Patricia when I was 28, during a CTA expansion project in Chicago. She worked in the contractor's administrative office, handling documentation and contracts. For the first few months, we just exchanged polite greetings in the hallways. It was on a Friday, after a particularly tense meeting with investors, that she offered me a coffee and asked if I was okay. We talked for 2 hours that afternoon. She had a way of listening that made me feel understood, something rare in the competitive engineering world. We dated for 3 years before getting married. During that time, I bought a condo in Lincoln Park with my savings, the result of years of hard work and extra projects on weekends. I put every cent I had into that property, imagining our life together there. The condo overlooked Lincoln Park, had 3 bedrooms and a balcony where we planned to have coffee every morning. We got married in October 2012, a simple ceremony with 80 guests at a company event space. My brother Andrew, 3 years younger than me, was my best man. Andrew was always close to me, and, consequently, to the couple I formed with Patricia. Every Friday, he had dinner with us at the condo. Patricia would make lasagna, his favorite dish, and we'd talk late about work, family, future plans. Holidays were spent at our parents' house in Naperville, where Andrew, Patricia, and I would help my mom in the kitchen, while my dad, already showing the first signs of the illness that would later debilitate him, told old family stories. We were, or at least I believed we were, very united. Andrew worked as a freelance photographer. His hours were flexible, even unpredictable. He often complained about not having adequate space to edit photos in the shared apartment where he lived. It was Patricia who suggested we give him a copy of our key. Mark is always traveling. The condo is empty during the day. Andrew could use the office to work, she argued. It made sense. I trusted her. I trusted him. I gave him the key on a Tuesday in March, saying our home was his home too. For the next 8 months, my routine was predictable. I'd leave at 6:30 a.m. for sites I coordinated in different parts of the Chicago metro area and beyond. Projects in Waukegan, Gary, even supervision in Schaumburg. I usually returned around 7 p.m., tired, covered in construction site dust. Patricia was always home, dinner ready, smiling, asking about my day. She seemed genuinely interested in the technical details of the projects, the challenges with suppliers, the tense meetings with inspectors. I felt lucky. The first signs started too subtly to register consciously. Patricia started showering before I got home, something she didn't do before. I started doing yoga in the afternoon. I get sweaty, she explained when I commented. Made sense. Another change. She switched the perfume she'd worn for years to a new, more striking one. I got tired of the old one, wanted something different, she said. I accepted it. Andrew began to mention on Fridays specific details about the condo. He could only know if he was spending significant time there. You guys need to fix that leak in the master bathroom, he commented once. I didn't know about any leak. Oh, Patricia told me, he corrected quickly. I swallowed the inconsistency. There was a Thursday afternoon in June when I came home early because rain halted the construction site. I arrived at 3 p.m. The condo was quiet, but there were 2 glasses of juice on the kitchen sink, still with melting ice. Andrew stopped by to pick up some equipment he left here, Patricia explained when she came out of the bedroom, hair wet. I didn't question it. Why would I question my brother? In July, I noticed Patricia started checking her phone more frequently. Messages would arrive, and she'd read them with an expression I couldn't decipher, somewhere between anxiety and excitement. Friends group planning a baby shower, she said when she noticed me watching. I smiled and went back to my projects on the laptop. Weeks later, Andrew cancelled dinner 3 Fridays in a row. Work piled up demanding clients, you guys understand? He justified via text. Patricia was visibly disappointed on those nights. He works so hard, poor thing, she'd comment. August brought more inconsistencies. I found a wrapped gift in the bedroom closet while looking for a tie. It was a men's shirt, size medium, exactly Andrew's size. It's his birthday present. I bought it early, Patricia explained. Andrew's birthday was in November. 3 months early seemed excessive, but I didn't say anything. It was in September that everything fell apart. I had a trip scheduled to Boston for a 5-day site supervision. I left on Monday, September 18th, 7 a.m. flight. The Boston site showed critical structural problems on the second day. The local contractor had used concrete outside of the specifications. I had to cancel the rest of my schedule and return to report personally to my superiors in Chicago. I didn't tell Patricia. It would be a surprise to arrive home on Thursday, 3 days early. I got to the condo at 2:20 p.m. The door was locked from the inside, just the key, not the deadbolt. I opened it silently. I heard laughter coming from the bedroom. Laughter I recognized instantly. I walked down the hall, each step measured, heart accelerating so much I felt it in my temples. The bedroom door was ajar. I saw through the crack. Patricia and Andrew were on our bed, the bed I bought in the sheets I paid for, laughing at something on his phone, completely at ease, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. I didn't enter the room. I didn't yell. I didn't confront. Silently, I walked back down the hall, left the condo, and closed the door carefully. I took the stairs instead of the elevator. I couldn't process it. I sat in my car in the parking garage for 40 minutes, hands on the wheel, staring at the dashboard. My brother, my wife, our bed. I started the car and drove to a hotel in River North. I checked in, went up to the room, sat on the unfamiliar bed, and just stayed there. I didn't cry. I couldn't. It was as if my brain refused to fully process what I had seen. I sent a message to Patricia. Site's complicated, going to be stuck in Boston a few more days. She replied in 3 minutes. Okay, love you, be safe. I turned off my phone. I spent that night awake, replaying every detail of the last few months. The showers before I got home, the new perfume, the glasses in the sink, the gift bought months early, the cancelled Fridays. It all started to make painful sense. On Friday morning, I bought a new laptop with cash. I needed to investigate without leaving a trace. I remembered I had installed a GPS tracker in Patricia's car 2 years earlier when she started taking solo trips to visit her mother in Milwaukee. It was for safety in case something happened on the road. I accessed the history. My stomach turned. For the last 8 months, her car had visited Andrew's apartment in Evanston an average of 4 times a week, always between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m., always on days I was at distant work sites. I noted every date, every time, every duration. The longest was 6 hours and 20 minutes. But that was just the beginning. I remembered the shared email account we created for household bills. Patricia thought I never accessed it because I always let her handle the household finances. I logged in. I started searching. I found a folder named Personal P, hidden in subfolders for recipes. Inside, 247 emails exchanged between Patricia and Andrew over the last 9 months. I read every single one that Friday and the following Saturday. The first messages were cautious, almost innocent. Then they turned into flirting. Then they turned into planning meetups. And then they turned into something much worse. They discussed in meticulous detail how to make me seem emotionally unstable to facilitate a divorce favorable to Patricia. He has those stress episodes from work. We can use that, Andrew wrote in an email from May. I'll start documenting when he gets irritable after bad days on site, Patricia replied. The more I read, the worse it got. I discovered they had already consulted a lawyer together. In June, Andrew sent Patricia a scanned PDF, a summary of a legal consultation about asset division. The lawyer had explained that since the condo was bought before the marriage with my funds exclusively, it would theoretically be my private property. But the document contained Patricia's handwritten notes. Contest. Claim he verbally promised it would be for both. Ask for old conversation recordings. The worst email was dated August 15th. Andrew wrote, My dad is getting worse. Doctors give him 1 year max. The inheritance is valued at $500,000, split between me and Mark. We need to find out if there's any way for you to get part of what he receives, since technically you'll still be married when the inheritance is released. I consulted the lawyer. He said inheritance is private property, but we can argue if it's used for the couple's benefit during the marriage. They were planning to use my father's terminal illness for financial gain. They were speculating on his death. My body trembled in a way it had never trembled before. I had to close the laptop for 30 minutes and just breathe. There was more. An email from Patricia to Andrew dated September 3rd. After the divorce, how long do we need to wait to get married? I know it needs to look natural, but I can't stand hiding anymore. I want to wake up with you every day, not just on Thursday afternoons when he's in Gary. Andrew replied, 6 months after the divorce is finalized would be safe. No one would suspect. We'll plan a small, intimate wedding, maybe in Lake Geneva. I sat in silence for an hour, processing everything. When I stood up, something had changed. It wasn't anger exactly, but something colder, more calculated. I was an engineer. I dealt with complex problems methodically, step by step, following protocols. I decided to treat this like I would a project with a compromised foundation. Complete analysis, detailed documentation, permanent structural solution. First action. I saved all 247 emails to an encrypted flash drive. Then I saved them to 2 additional flash drives, storing each in different places. I took screenshots of every message, including full headers with dates and times. I organized everything into folders by month, by theme, by severity of content. It took me 9 hours. Second action. I discovered Patricia automatically backed up her phone to the cloud. She had given me access to the shared account years ago to sync family photos. I accessed it. I found WhatsApp conversations between her and Andrew that weren't in the emails, voice messages, photos. I exported everything, 1,147 WhatsApp messages in 8 months, an average of 7.7 messages per day. The voice messages were particularly revealing. In one, Patricia laughed and said, "He suspects nothing. It's incredible how easy it is to deceive someone who trusts blindly." Third action. The following Monday, I hired a private investigator. I chose one who had worked on fraud cases in public works I investigated years ago. Discreet, efficient, expensive. I explained the situation. I showed him the evidence I had. "I need photographic documentation and videos," I said. "I need it to be irrefutable." He quoted $5,000 for 3 weeks of work. I paid half up front in cash. During those 3 weeks, I maintained absolute normalcy. I returned home the Monday after the discovery, acting as if nothing had happened. "How was Boston?" Patricia asked. "Complicated but resolved," I replied, kissing her forehead as I always did. We had dinner together. She told me about her day. I listened, nodded, smiled at the appropriate times. Andrew came for dinner on Friday. I shook his hand, asked about work. We laughed at old jokes. They suspected nothing. The investigator did flawless work. In 3 weeks, he documented 18 meetings between the couple. Photos of Andrew arriving at the condo, photos of both entering together, videos of them on the balcony embracing, videos of them going out to lunch at restaurants on the Gold Coast. One particularly clear video showed them kissing in a supermarket parking lot. The investigator even managed to record audio via directional equipment when they talked on the balcony. In one of those audios, Andrew said, "As soon as we have the condo in her name, we sell it and buy something smaller. We'll use the difference to open my studio." Fourth action, I consulted a lawyer specializing in family law. I chose Robert Mendez, considered the best for complex divorce cases in Chicago, even though he was 60% more expensive than others. At the first consultation, I brought all the evidence on an external hard drive. He spent 4 hours reviewing everything. "Mr. Vance," he said finally, "I've been working on marital cases for 28 years. I rarely see documentation this complete. You have an absolutely solid case." Mendez guided me on the next steps. First, we needed to ensure the condo was legally recognized as private property, since it was acquired before the marriage with my exclusive funds. For this, we gathered the original deed, proof of payment for all installments, bank statements from that time, proving the origin of the funds from my personal account, and tax returns from the relevant years. Everything clearly indicated that not 1 cent of Patricia's had been used. Second, Mendez suggested waiting a little longer before acting. Let them continue. The more they incriminate themselves, the stronger your case gets. They are digging their own graves. I followed his advice. I continued documenting. I continued acting normally. Patricia and Andrew continued their routine of betrayal, completely unaware that every move was being recorded, archived, and prepared as legal ammunition. During this period, Andrew made a critical mistake. On one of those Fridays, after a few drinks, he made a comment in front of Patricia. "Man, seriously, you should consider another field. Engineering is consuming you. I saw some courses yesterday on career transition." He stopped mid-sentence, realizing the slip. How could he have seen me yesterday if I was theoretically in Rockford supervising a site? I pretended not to notice. Patricia quickly changed the subject, but I noted it mentally. They were getting careless, arrogant. The time to act came when I received via the shared email a notification for a scheduled legal consultation. Patricia had booked a follow-up with the lawyer for a final discussion of judicial separation strategy. The date was October 15th. I decided to move first. Mendez prepared the complete legal strategy. Step 1. Get an injunction guaranteeing the condo as private property. We filed on October 2nd, attaching all acquisition documentation. The judge granted it in 48 hours. The condo was legally protected. Patricia wouldn't get a single square foot of it. Step 2. Prepare the complete contested divorce filing with all the evidence. Mendez organized everything into a 47-page initial petition with 12 documentary attachments, printed and notarized emails, the investigator's report with photos, videos, dates, times, GPS logs from the car, transcribed audios, all dated, notarized, organized chronologically. It was a legal bombshell, but before filing I decided my family needed to know. They couldn't find out from court documents. My father was frail, but lucid. He deserved to know the truth about the son he trusted. I called my mother and explained we needed an urgent family meeting. It's about Andrew and Patricia, I said simply. I need you to hear it from me first. I scheduled it for Saturday, October 7th at 3 p.m. at my parents' house in Naperville. I asked my mother to invite Patricia and Andrew without mentioning it was a serious meeting. Just a family lunch, she was supposed to say. I hired the family lawyer, Paul Anderson, who handled my father's will, to be present. I prepared a PowerPoint presentation. I connected my laptop to the 55-inch TV in the living room. When Patricia and Andrew arrived that Saturday, they found me, my parents, Paul Anderson and Robert Mendez in the room. Their expression of confusion was almost comical. "Sit down," I said calmly. "We have a few things to discuss." I started the presentation. First slide, a photo of our condo building. "This is our home," I said, looking at Patricia. "The home I bought in 2011 before we got married, with money I saved working on high-risk projects nobody else wanted to take." Click. Second slide, a copy of the deed highlighting the acquisition date and the full amount paid. A home that is worth $750,000 today. Third slide, a graph showing the frequency of Patricia's car's visits to Andrew's apartment, 4 times a week, 8 months, always during business hours. I saw Andrew swallow hard. Patricia turned white. My mother asked, "Mark, what is this?" I continued, slides showing emails. I read some excerpts aloud. "He has those stress episodes from work. We can use that. I'll start documenting when he gets irritable. We need to find out if there's any way for you to get part of what he receives from the inheritance." My father, sitting in his armchair with a blanket over his legs, began to cry silently. I showed the investigators photos. Andrew and Patricia on my balcony, embracing. Andrew and Patricia kissing in public. Andrew and Patricia entering a motel on the I-90 tollway. My mother shot up from her chair. "Andrew, tell me this isn't true," she pleaded. He didn't answer. He just stared at the floor. I played the audio files. Patricia's voice saying, "It's incredible how easy it is to deceive someone who trusts blindly." Andrew's voice responding, "As soon as we have the condo in her name, we sell it." 45 minutes of presentation. 45 minutes of irrefutable evidence. 45 minutes of a family being methodically torn apart. When I finished, the silence in the room was as heavy as concrete. Patricia tried to speak. "Mark, this isn't..." I held up my hand. "No," I said. "You're going to listen now." I nodded to Mendez, who opened his briefcase. "Mr. and Mrs. Vance, Mr. Anderson," he began formally. "We filed this morning for a contested divorce with cause, based on adultery proven documentarily. All evidence presented here is attached to the initial petition filed with the family court. The Lincoln Park condo already has an injunction recognizing it as Mr. Mark Vance's private property, acquired before the marriage with his exclusive funds. Mrs. Vance has no claim whatsoever on the property." Patricia tried to deny everything. Then she tried to minimize it. Then she tried to justify it, saying I was always absent, always working, that she felt lonely. Mendez interrupted her. "Mrs. Vance, you have the right to retain counsel. I suggest you do so quickly. The deadline to respond is 15 days. She started to cry. I felt no pity. My father, using the strength he had left, spoke for the first time. He looked at Andrew. "You betrayed your brother in the house he bought, in the bed he slept in, and you still plan to steal from him." His voice trembled. "Paul, I want to change my will immediately. Andrew is being disinherited. The entire estate that was to be divided between the two will go exclusively to Mark." My mother had an emotional breakdown. She had to be helped to her room by Paul Anderson. She couldn't process that her youngest son had done that to his brother. Andrew remained in absolute silence during the entire confrontation. He couldn't look at me, at our parents, at anyone. Patricia eventually stopped trying to justify herself and just sat there, destroyed by the total exposure. I ended the meeting. "You will both leave this house now," I said to Patricia and Andrew, "and you will not contact any member of this family again." They left. Patricia still tried to touch my arm as she passed me. I took a step back. "Your lawyer will speak with mine," was all I said. Paul Anderson arranged the will change that same week. Documents signed, notarized, registered. Andrew was formally removed as an heir. The entire estate, valued at $500,000, including the family home, savings, and investments, would be mine exclusively when my father passed. The divorce process moved surprisingly fast. Patricia hired a lawyer who, upon reviewing the evidence, advised her not to contest. "You don't have a case," he reportedly told her, as Mendez later found out. She tried to negotiate at least a division of furniture and appliances. Mendez was inflexible. "Your client planned documented financial fraud. If you insist, we will include a claim for $50,000 in moral damages. I suggest she accept leaving with only her personal belongings." 7 months later, in May, the divorce was finalized. Patricia received nothing but her clothes, her personal items, and her car, which was already in her name. The condo remained mine. The furniture remained mine. She was also ordered to pay $25,000 in court costs and legal fees, an amount that would be garnished from any salary she earned until it was paid in full. Andrew faced devastating social consequences. The story spread quickly among our mutual acquaintances. He was a freelance photographer, dependent on referrals and reputation. 3 of his main corporate clients cancelled contracts upon learning what happened. "Ethical concerns," one of them justified in an email. His phone stopped ringing. Work dried up. In the following months, I saw through acquaintances that he was doing DoorDash deliveries to pay rent. My mother flatly refused to speak to Andrew ever again. She blocked his number. When he showed up at her house months later, begging for forgiveness, she closed the door in his face without saying a word. The relationship between them, once close and affectionate, was permanently and irreversibly destroyed. Patricia and Andrew tried to continue their relationship after everything came to light. After all, they had planned to get married, but reality was different from their fantasy. Their relationship, built on betrayal and lies, collapsed under the weight of guilt and mutual accusations. I heard through third parties that they broke up after 4 months filled with fights, with Patricia blaming Andrew for everything being exposed and Andrew accusing her of being careless with the digital evidence. 10 months after that confrontation, my father passed away. He was 71. The illness that weakened him finally won, but he had enough time to see the situation resolved and to express, in his final days, pride in how I handled everything. "You did the right thing," he said one afternoon, holding my hand. "Dignity always, Mark. Always dignity." Those were some of his last words to me. The probate was simple. As established in the altered will, I received the entire estate. $500,000 in property, investments and savings. Andrew did not contest. He had no legal basis to do so. The will was clear, recent, and he had been formally disinherited for documented just cause. A year and a half after that devastating Saturday in Naperville, my life was unrecognizable in a positive way. I was promoted to regional engineering manager, coordinating projects throughout the Midwest, a 60% higher salary, a team of 23 engineers under my supervision, projects in 4 states. The company recognized that, even while going through a deep personal crisis, I kept all projects under my responsibility, on schedule and on budget. I sold the Lincoln Park condo. I couldn't enter it anymore without remembering. I sold it for $765,000, $15,000 above market value. With that money and part of my father's inheritance, I bought a penthouse in the Gold Coast, 3 bedrooms, a 400-square-foot terrace overlooking the lake, gourmet kitchen, 2 covered parking spaces. I paid cash. No bad memories inhabited those walls. I adopted a 2-year-old golden retriever named Bruno. He had been abandoned and was in a shelter. Something about his calm demeanor attracted me. Bruno became my constant companion, always waiting at the door when I come home from work, sleeping at the foot of my bed every night. I met Fernanda at a sustainable construction conference in New York, 7 months after the divorce. She was 38, an architect specializing in ecological projects, divorced for 3 years, no children. We talked during the coffee break about rainwater harvesting techniques. The conversation flowed naturally. We exchanged professional contacts. Weeks later, she called me asking for a technical opinion on a structure for a project she had in Chicago. We had lunch to discuss it. Lunch turned into dinner. Dinner turned into other dinners. I was completely honest with Fernanda from the beginning. I told her the whole story the 3rd time we went out. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she said, "Thank you for trusting me. I know that wasn't easy." She didn't try to minimize it, didn't offer empty platitudes. She just understood. We started a relationship based on total transparency, honest communication, and absolute respect. We don't live together yet, but we spend alternating weekends at each other's homes. We've met each other's families. We plan trips. Andrew, last I heard, was still working deliveries. He lives alone in a rented apartment in Joliet, 1 bedroom, $900 a month rent. Photography, his passion, became impossible as a career. Reputation destroyed. Contacts lost. Family broken. He tried to contact me twice by email after my father died. Long messages apologizing, begging for a chance to talk. I didn't answer either one. There was nothing left to say. Patricia moved back to her parents' house in Aurora. She works in sales at a construction supply store, ironically. Base salary plus commission. The comfortable life she had, the Lincoln Park condo, new car, trips, restaurants, was permanently over. She lost everything by trying to gain what wasn't hers. I learned lessons I will never forget. Trust is necessary, but blind trust, even in family, can be dangerous. Meticulous documentation, which I learned from my auditor father, saved my assets and my dignity. Most importantly, I learned that facing betrayal with intelligence and method, instead of reacting emotionally, ensures that justice is served completely and irreversibly. Hot anger burns fast and destroys the one who feels it. Cold, calculated, strategic determination builds permanent victories. Today, sitting on my penthouse terrace, Bruno lying at my feet, Fernanda beside me reading, I look out at Lake Michigan reflecting the sunset and feel something I hadn't felt in a long time. Genuine peace. Not peace from revenge, but peace from justice. Peace for having acted with dignity. Peace for having rebuilt without compromising my values. The life I have now is better than anything I had before, not despite what happened, but because I learned that preserved dignity is worth more than any relationship based on lies. And to you who's listening right now, thank you so much. If you enjoyed this story, if it touched your heart in any way, leave a like down below. Comment what you thought. Would you have done the same? Or do you think I was too harsh or fair enough? I'd love to hear your opinion. And if you're not subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe. Every day there's a new story here, real stories from real people who went through tough times and found a way to overcome them. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos.